I am your host, the Financial Conspirator, your guide to everything financials and conspiracies. We are back with another Black Power special, talking about why exposing the systems, the effects, the dynamics of white supremacy is not racism. And we have a very special Zamet guest. Comey is back. Thank you for joining us again.
You're welcome. Glad to be on.
Let's get right into the conscious talk.
Question to you is, who took the Ku Klux Klan or white people's names from them and gave them slave names? Nobody. Who robbed white people of their language, their religion, their culture, their God? Nobody. Who robbed them of their folkways, their mores, their norms, and their culture? Nobody. Who took white folks 10,000 miles from their native land in chains and put them in bondage and slavery and made them build a land for them? The answer, nobody. Who, after bringing white people to that land, if that had happened in history, kept them in bondage there and then would not do justice by them and continued to repress and oppress them the whole time they were in that land? The answer again is nobody. So then the white man is a racist because he wants to be a racist. He's a racist because it's in his nature to be a racist. But when a black man or a black woman stands up to speak out for black people who have been robbed of their name, their language, their religion, their culture, their God, when one stands up as a champion for black people who have been taken on a westernly course 10,000 miles and lost over 250 million lives in the middle passage on the floor of the Atlantic Ocean from the slave ships, when one stands up for them and stands up for their justice and their freedom, their liberation, their independence, and their equality in America, they are called racist. You certainly can see that the scale would not balance in that situation.
So what he's talking about here can still be applied today. We see white folks talking about black fatigue as if they could ever somehow have some sort of say of how black people have made them feel oppressed, segregated. Black people, even with Streamers University, I saw white people complaining that they weren't allowed in Streamer University. How many PWIs, how many institutions have white people had where the barrier of entry was simply too extreme, where you have to have 5 years experience just to get the job? You have to have 100,000 in the bank account just to open an account here. You have to have this requirement, this much land, just to learn about these courses. A black person is expected to go $100,000 into debt at 18 just to learn the same things that a white father was taught by his white father. I mean, we're talking about stuff that we were not allowed to read and write legally for 400 years. And white people have the audacity to say that they feel fatigued with how black people are treating them. Can you discuss the absolute blatant hypocrisy behind this idea or this sentiment?
Yeah. So whites, what they're doing here is playing a game, and most whites, some of them have extreme, real, serious cognitive dissonance and genuinely believe they're oppressed. Now, this comes from true the more poor whites, the whites with a lot less privilege in comparison to their more powerful white counterparts. And they feel as though they're being robbed of something by the black population, when in reality, most of the robbery is coming from their own Caucasian elites. Now, this whole game of playing as though the black population has ever done anything wrong to the white population is nonsensical. It just doesn't exist. There's just no rational backing for anything like that. Um, I think some of them have a guilt complex. They feel guilty and they feel the need to also be oppressed so that they are just in hating the outside. The thing is, if you want to hate the outside, just do it. Just do it as you are. Just do it as you wish, and there's no need to act as though there's any justification to do that except you feel like it. So if they are scared of black people mixing with them, for instance, just say that. Don't go around the corners and act as though some sort of systemic oppression is happening against the white population. If we're honest this way, solutions can actually be found, and we can know what it is we're dealing with. But when everyone's in some weird cognitive dissonance, no progress can really be made. So I think it's generally a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not helping anybody.
No, it's
Not them. Not them, for sure. Just blaming the black man.
Yeah,
Question to you is, who took
Sorry, go ahead.
when this happens, I mean, I think it's a bad sign, in the sense that I think if whites no longer feel secure in their position, they don't feel secure in it, well, then that's when they're willing to be a little bit more aggressive and invasive. And, you listen to certain white nationalists, there's a very clear ideology there, which is an embrace in being the villain, being happy with being the villain in someone else's book. That's an honest white nationalist. An honest white nationalist just goes ahead and acknowledges that. And, whatever happens, happens. If the white population is hated and people point out the crimes of the white population, they say, yeah, we did do that. And we're happy we did that, or we just don't care that we did that. That side is very honest. If you hate them, they understand why they're hated. Do they want to be hated, or do they want any of the troubles? Do they want the vengeance? No, they don't want the vengeance. They don't want the retaliation. But they are, on one hand, very honest that they would indeed deserve that retaliation. They know that if they were on our side, they would hate the white population as well. They don't play stupid as though there is no good reason to dislike the white population. And in that case, what happens is when we are black nationalists that don't want anything to do with whites, there's simply one thing to do, which is to stop that retaliation from ever happening. So it's a very Machiavellian, it's a very straightforward approach to reality, and there's no cognitive dissonance present. So it's sort of just, I wanted the African resources, I went and robbed the continent, and I took it, and I know you're mad, but what I want to do is stop you from ever being able to retaliate. That's a very logical approach. That's that is the approach or the logic of, I assume, white elites. It is only the dumber, more stupid, unaware types that seriously think they are a victim here or that they don't deserve retaliation. So then for us, what we should think is, well, if whites know what they've done to the black race and they know that they want to try and stop it, our only thing to do now is make sure they can't stop it. Be indestructible and bring forth vengeance. So everyone knows exactly what's happening and why it happened.
Yeah, I agree. You said they know that they're the enemy and they lean into it. That's exactly right. When you see things like the white man's burden, they'll turn around and say, yeah, it was evil, but we had to do it. We were spreading Christianity. We were spreading the good word of Jesus Christ. It might have been wrong now, but it was an overall net positive for Africa. Look at them. They're thriving. They know that they were wrong. What they did was fucked up, but they still try to backtrack and rationalize it because we're justified in every right to hate them.
No, we're not joking. We really mean what we say.
Do you find yourself really hating white people?
Yes. Some people hold grudges, and I do. Look how they treat. How many flows did my great grandmother stroke? How many babies did she take care of that wasn't hers? Stuff like that. And I'm just one of those people that hold things.
I think that's what they fear the most. They fear a generation of black people who, you know what? I'm not just gonna sit here and listen to music with you and invite you to my cookout. You're in control. You have power. This is not me being a victim or pulling a victim card to recognize that someone is actively oppressing and genociding my people. All the abortion clinics are in black, underpoverished, poor neighborhoods. Why is that? Who's the greatest advocate for abortion clinics? It's not, it's white liberals. So why aren't the clinics in white neighborhoods? They're actively genociding our people in every way that you can think imaginable. They shitty schools so that we can't grow up and get jobs that pay, so that we then are selling drugs, so that we are going to jail, so that we are providing free labor for, I mean, trillions of dollars of free labor, which is what Dr. Amos was discussing before, or he'll discuss in the video that we're going to show you. How much money do black people make for other races? We are not a lazy group of people as they would like you to believe. It's just that there's someone actively crusading against us, and we're just dancing with them, singing Sexy Red songs and inviting them to the cookout. Like, this is absolute absurdity.
Yeah. With the girl in the video, very reasonable, very rational, good person, and it would be good if we had more people like that. And unfortunately, the reason there aren't many people like that is because whites have switched things around and made things a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more drugs, a little bit more dancing, a little bit more music, and more football, and then an assumption or a trick to make you believe, an illusion that you can still manage to gain some leverage within the current order of the Anglo world in Europe or the US or even in Africa, while the West is still present in the continent. So, you know, she is correct in the sense that people should hold grudges. People should, because you're not going to be able to fix anything. She doesn't articulate it all the way, but you're not going to be able to fix anything if you don't recognize your enemy, if you don't recognize who the problem is. You know, and again, this goes back to how a large portion of the white population it is in cognitive dissonance, while a portion of the population just lies, and then a portion of the population is well aware that they're enemies of the black race and do it with a smile on their faces. You see, when you have so many who are pretending or genuinely don't know that they're the enemies of the black race, you then have enough people to be fooled into thinking everything's all right now. You know, that there's no reason for sovereignty. The end of history has come. There is no necessity in being strong anymore. So, you know, it's a good thing, in fact, that the whites are increasing in aggression towards the black race, because the increase in aggression towards the black race is going to allow us to rally those who see it and kill off those of us who are sort of just capitulated, without will losers. And we can finally commit to action. We can finally go forward to real sovereignty, because the enemy is open.
I agree. More women like her and less like Sexy Red, the black community would look a lot different.
No, we're not joking.
When one of our youngsters was rhyming "kill the police," that kind of content was washed right out immediately. Yes. But what washout occurs when they sing about shooting each other with their Glocks and the other things? When their contents of self-destructiveness ride on the rhythm of their song and of their dance. And when the cymbals are loaded then with self-destructive elements and content.
It's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
Don't you think that's hypocritical though? You're saying the
It's
opioid problem's a problem.
opportunistic. Yeah, I got people to feed.
Oh,
I got a business to run.
You're gonna make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
So, but we have to recognize that these people that we put on these pedestals, the little babies, the Drakes, who else? The Young Thugs, the Lil Waynes. Okay, I like the songs, but these people are not my idols. I don't have them put up on my wall in my room. These are not the people I'm listening to when it's political season. We have to understand that these people are completely compromised and captured, that they might be black and they might be quote unquote black culture, but none of what they're doing, none of these actions, none of these music videos, none of that is African culture at all. None of it. And if we really want to bring a Pan-African Union, an African Union, we have to recognize that this shit is not us. We have to want it to not be us, walking around sagging with our ass cheeks out. If you want respect, you have to respect yourself.
Sure. When you have it's purposefully weaponized by the enemy. After the 60s was when the music industry began to truly degenerate. In the 70s, really bad in the 80s, 90s, until now. And this was, of course, right after the age of Malcolm X and MLK, the age of the Black Panthers, the age of Huey P. Newton, and so on. These people obviously generated a culture of racial unity, racial consciousness. They generated a culture where Afros were normal. They generated a culture where everyone was called brother, where even in the music and the movies, they would talk about their history. Everything was positive. It was about unity. It was about power, about strength. It was about health. That's what it was all about. Embracing the black race and who we are, who they were. And obviously the enemies didn't like that and they didn't want that to continue. And so they, of course, implemented the current state of music that we have. And I think everybody knows that the music industry is not owned by black people, that the majority of these record labels, these artists, it's all working for someone else and not in our interests. We all know about the deal in the 80s where it was meant to help fuel the private prisons and so on. This is all just things that, should not surprise those who sort of understand how the world works. Because, of course, our enemy is going to want us to be destroyed. We know that historically, the whites, when they came into the U.S., what they did was they supported different tribes within America amongst the Indians to help fight the bigger tribes and sort of the people who would be a bigger fight for them. So they're going to do that within any race. They're going to use the divide and conquer strategy to destroy people. And that's what they're trying to do now. They're trying to poison our population because they hate the black race. They don't want the black race to be strong. It's that simple, And we have to recognize that these industries, these music industries that are owned by them, have to be destroyed. Our people have to not be able to see it. We have to remove it from our own people's sites, our children's sites. Anyone who's too infected by that garbage has to be put away for good. We have to regenerate a culture like that of the 60s in the black population, the Pan-African culture, the positive, unifying, health-centered, unity-centered, family-centered culture that was generated there, except better and more oriented on force and strength projection to ensure that this mess that has occurred due to our enemies doesn't happen again. It's really that simple. It's not, it's a rule of nature that different things will try and destroy you from time to time. And that's all that's happening now. Again, it's the cognitive dissonance and lying of the white population that fools anyone into thinking otherwise. It's simply a competition. The white population hates the black population. They want to infect us with that sort of self-destructive garbage. So, you know, the portion of the population that genuinely believes that stuff, or is again fooled enough by the current media promoted by our enemies, these are people who are too far gone and cannot continue to exist within our race. And it's that simple. But that's why media control is a necessity for us. You know, within our politics of Zionism, we believe there has to be control over the media, and the media has to be positive. Anything outside of that positivity has to be destroyed, totally.
Oh yeah, look at China. The U.S. tries to put movies over there, and they're like, "Bro, you're gonna change that fucking movie before we release it in China." That's the kind of strictness that we need to have. We need to have the strictness and love for our people that Zionists have for their people. If you ask a Zionist if they will get rid of a baby to secure their race, they will look at you with a straight face and say, yes. That's the kind of love and complete and utter support that we need to have. We need to have strictness. What you think, what you watch, and what you do frequently become your frequency. If you're just seeing baby mama culture, if you're just listening to baby mama culture on the radio, if you're just watching Natalie Nunn and this bullshit on TV, if that's all your kid is seeing from the age of 2 years old to 9 years old, what do you think they're going to be? And then you raise them and you're just confused as to how this could have went so wrong. Why are they pregnant at 16? Where did I go wrong as a parent? Everything that they're listening to, it has to be regulated, completely and utterly regulated. You're not going to find a Jew letting their daughter listen to fucking Sexy Red. It's not going to happen. And I'm sorry, Sexy Red, that I keep using you as an example. You're just perfect in every way. That is the coonish behavior that we're talking about.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Like any other nation. All right. I mentioned there today, how many jobs are created by black music? All right. Yeah, look at the whole structure of the music industry, from promoters to manufacturers of the records and the tapes and what have you, to the whole entertainment field, to the sellers of music in the stores, you know what we say, the Tower Records and the other great sellers of records and music and so forth, advertising that uses our music and all these things. How many thousands of jobs are we creating as people? We're creating them, but they have them. You see? We sing the music, they sell it. We sing the music, they market it. We sing the music, they promote it. You see? We sing the music, they produce great conglomerates like Sony, CBS Music, creating all kinds of jobs. We're creating tremendous jobs for a lot of people. How many jobs do we create just buying from Koreans? Buying from other ethnic groups out here? How many people are we creating employment for in terms of our spending habits as a people and our consumption habits as a people? How many jobs are we creating going to jail? We're creating all kinds of jobs and wealth. And we must come to understand this. We are creating these jobs, and yet we are begging for jobs. This means that in somewhere our consciousness has been impaired. We're begging for what we are making already. We cannot use our own creations as a source of our own wealth.
I think we didn't even mention that part, that these people are creating this content and they're promoting this degeneracy, and they don't even own the content that they're promoting. They, like, in every sense of the word, of deplorable role model, they don't even own their masters. Like the people that you're listening to on a daily basis, If you're not listening to Dr. Khalid Muhammad, if you're not listening to Dr. Amos Wilson as much as you're listening to Glorilla, there's a serious conscious problem with you. What are we celebrating? I listen to Slime Get 'em. I listen to these guys, but I'm also studying, learning about white supremacy, because you're never going to dismantle it if you think that everything is kumbaya and we're gonna party our summer away. And the black dollar leaves the black community within 24 hours. You get paid, and within 24 hours, that money is going to nails to the Asians, alcohol to the Arabs, whoever owns your alcohol store, lottery tickets to the white government. It's immediately going outside of our neighborhoods. None of what we create, none of the wealth that we generate stays within our community. So I ask again, what are we celebrating? You can go ahead.
Yeah, there's nothing for the people to currently be celebrating within this current order. I mean, it's the. Have you ever heard the saying "goy slop"? That's exactly what it is. It's goy slop, produced by the white population for the non-white population, particularly the black population. And again, I mean, I would expect nothing else but that from the white population. Uh, I mean, these people, I don't think they're people who are really aware of what's really going on. Some of them are aware, and a lot of these people are just capitulators. And by that I mean they know exactly what they're doing, and for them, ignorance is bliss. I'm sure we've all heard that before. Ignorance is bliss for these people, and what they're doing is really just escapism to try and go away from what what needs to be done, because most people don't want to. The average person doesn't really care about fixing serious problems, especially if it's not just going to take them 5 seconds. If it takes legitimate, sustained effort, then they would much rather sort of just sit around and run away from the reality by sort of drowning themselves in distractions. And the whites, what they've done is just give them a ton of distractions so that they don't really ever be left alone with the facts, if that makes sense. You know, it's sort of like someone who does a bunch of drugs to not focus on what needs to be done. So I mean, that's what it is. That's what that is.
Yeah, what's more dangerous to the white race? You drunk, hollering at women, or you studying on a Saturday night, Black Wall Street, what they did to your people, what they're still doing to your people? There's a clear and obvious agenda. Someone is benefiting from our demise. We aren't this way from pure chance and accident. We didn't just happen to be the poorest race. Asians come here and succeed. Indians come here and succeed. Chinese come here and succeed. Chinatown looks amazing. Go to MLK Boulevard. Shit is not by accident. And you people are out here celebrating, dating, sleeping with, marrying, having children with the very same people who are celebrating your demise. Yeah.
Yeah. So simply, you should anyone listening should if they are within the if they actually agree with things you've said here, you should check out the Zamanist Consortium and visit the website of the Zamanist Consortium to check out the policy and perhaps apply for membership so that we can add to the official numbers of people who are with us as an organization to actually consolidate some effort to fixing problems. That's all.
Strength in numbers, people. And speaking of numbers, I need you to like the video, subscribe, and share before we close out. Take a listen to what this young sister has to say.
I know that the government, whatever can't stand us black people, he doing everything in the world to make black man be extinct. But I'm going to tell you one thing, us black people going to survive. So fuck everybody. I'm out.